This is Global Watch on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. I am Abigail Ukmade. More than 430 people in connection with the January 6 assault on the U.S. Capitol have been arrested by U.S. federal agents. The number of arrests continues to grow. Announced by Deputy Assistant Attorney General Brad Wigman, the figure represents more than half of an estimated 800 supporters of former President Donald Trump who breached the Capitol to try to prevent Congress from declaring Joe Biden winner of the November presidential election. The arrested persons include hundreds of Trump supporters with no known ties to extremist organizations, but also several dozen members of far-right groups, as well as current and former law enforcement and military personnel. Justice Department officials have said the investigation could lead to charges against as many as 500 people. According to a tally by the George Washington University Program on Extremism, 43 former and 3 current members of the military and 9 former and 4 current members of law enforcement have been charged in connection with the Capitol riot. Israeli medical officials said a stampede at a religious festival attended by thousands of Jews in northern Israel killed at least 44 people and injured about 150 others early on Friday. The stampede happened during the celebrations of Lag BaOmer at Mount Meron. The stampede happened after midnight and its cause was not immediately known. According to witnesses, the stampede started when large numbers of people who tried to exit the site passed through a narrow tunnel-like passage. People began falling on top of each other near the end of the walkway as they came down from a slippery metal stairs. Israel's military dispatched medical teams and an elite rescue unit to assist with evacuating casualties and providing treatment. The emergency medical service said it had evacuated 103 injured people to local hospitals, including more than 20 in severe condition. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called the incident a great tragedy and said everyone was praying for the victims. The incident was described as one of the country's deadliest civilian disasters. Russian authorities have detained Ivan Pavlov, a lawyer defending Alexei Navalny's anti-corruption foundation in an extremism case. This was announced by one of his colleagues, Egvy Simnov, on his Facebook page. According to Simnov, Mr. Pavlov, who specializes in treason, espionage, and other sensitive cases, is being accused of releasing classified information relating to an ongoing investigation. Pavlov's legal team said the offense is punishable by up to 3 months in prison. Mr. Pavlov, represented by Navalny's foundation on Thursday in a court hearing in Moscow, convened to consider a request from the prosecutor to declare the group an extremist organization. The hearing was held privately as authorities say the case contains classified information. The Defense Ministry in Berlin announced that the German military in Afghanistan will end the training of local forces on Friday and will withdraw from the country as the US and NATO finished up their mission almost 2 decades. President Joe Biden and the Western Military Alliance announced in mid-April that they will withdraw 10,000 foreign troops who are still in Afghanistan by September. Germany has the second largest military contingent with about 1,100 troops. Berlin has deployed more than 100,000 soldiers to Afghanistan over the past 2 decades, many of them serving more than 1 tour in the country. 59 German troops were killed in Afghanistan. 35 of them died in war or due to militant attacks, making it Germany's deadliest military mission since World War II. The multinational camp in northern Mazar-e-Sharif, led by Germany, has been reinforced with troops and mortars, ramping up security for the duration of the withdrawal to guard the base against attacks by the Taliban. Now to COVID-19 matters, where AstraZeneca announced on Friday that it made $275 million from COVID-19 vaccine sales after it reported a large growth in revenue in the first quarter of 2021. The pharmaceutical company delivered around 68 million doses globally as the vaccine rollout accelerated, up from just $2 million in the fourth quarter of 2020. The vaccine sales represented about 4% of the company's revenue for the quarter, with total revenue increasing by 11% to $7.32 billion at constant exchange rates for the 3 months to March, while main earnings stood at 1.6 trillion cents per share. Pascal Soriot, AstraZeneca's chief executive officer, said the company's performance ensured another quarter of strong revenue earnings, progression, continued profitability, and cash flow generation, despite the pandemic's ongoing negative impact on the diagnosis and treatment of many conditions. Although AstraZeneca's vaccine is approved for use in more than 100 countries, it has faced controversy and was subject to pauses and outright bans after it was linked to very rare cases of blood clots in younger people. You are watching Global Watch. More stories coming your way after the break, so stay tuned. Welcome back. The United States Embassy in Moscow announced on Friday that it will reduce most visa services for Russians and remove non-emergency consular services for Americans from next month, following Moscow's ban on hiring from unfriendly countries. A statement published on the embassy's website said they regret that the actions of the Russian government forced them to reduce their consular workforce by 75%, and they will endeavor to offer to U.S. citizens as many services as possible. According to the embassy statement, it would limit consular services to cover only emergency cases from 12th of May. It said visas for non-diplomats will only be processed in cases of emergency. The embassy also warned U.S. citizens residing in Russia with expired visas to leave before the 15th of June, which was the date set by the Russian government. Last week, President Vladimir Putin of Russia signed a law that allows the country limits the number of local staff working at foreign diplomatic missions or ban them completely. The law also requires the government to draw up a list of unfriendly states that would be at the receiving end of the changes. According to a United Nations Development Programme's report, more than half of Myanmar will be living in poverty by 2022. This will be as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, combined with the effects of the coup and the protest levels of poverty in 2022. The UNDP's Assistant Secretary General for the region, Kani, said poor urban populations and female heads of household will be the most affected. The report states that at least 25 million of Myanmar's population could end up living in poverty even after a decade after attaining gains against poverty. The country slipped into a state of unrest on February 1 when the military in a coup overthrew Democratic leader Aung San Suu Kyi. Protesters have been taken to the streets demanding the release of detained activists. Over 750 people have died in the fight between the junta and the protesters. There has been a hike in the prices of items and have shortage of essentials like fuel and food. The country's currency has slipped from 1,350 kyats per dollar to 1,600 kyats per dollar. The report also said the military has been spending money on arms and security operations than on public services. The European Commission antitrust regulator has charged Apple with breaking EU competition rules over the way it runs its App Store. The case is looking specifically at how its App Store policies affect music streaming. The charge was initially filed in 2019 by co-founder of Spotify, Daniel Ek, who claimed that Apple was stifling innovation in the industry. Apple previously denied any wrongdoing. The European Commission statement said Apple's rules distort competition in the market for music streaming by raising the cost of competing music streaming app developers. This, in turn, the statement said, leads to higher prices for consumers for their in-app music subscription on iOS devices. In response, Apple said it did not receive any commission on 99% of Spotify subscribers. Apple faces a large fine and may be forced to change its policies if its arguments do not convince regulators. U.S. Treasury yields gain on strong economic data caused gold prices to dip on Friday. Spot gold on Thursday was down 0.1% at $1,770.41 per ounce dollars by 6:26 GMT and dropped 0.3% so far in the week. U.S. gold futures were steady at $1,769.00 per ounce. Despite the decline, bullion was poised for its first monthly gain of the year. Data showed late Thursday that U.S. economic growth accelerated in the first quarter as fiscal stimulus fueled consumer spending. Palladium rose 0.2% to $2,958.19 per ounce after hitting an all-time high of $2,981.99 on Thursday. It was on track to post its third consecutive weekly and monthly gains as well. Silver fell 0.6% to $25.92 per ounce, while platinum was up by 0.3% at $1,201.69. And that is it on Global Watch for today. For more updates, to visit our website at www.TOSTVnetwork.com, to follow and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. I am Abigail Okwade. Remain safe and thanks for watching.